Hello, Professor Ahmed. How are you doing?
Good.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, viewers, so we have Professor Ahmed Mogtaba on our show today. That's the Entrepreneurs Avenue, and we are going to have a brief discussion about entrepreneurship. And he's a man well vested in entrepreneurship, and I believe you are going to learn a lot. Okay, Professor, yes. So, quick one. Tell me about yourself and about your entrepreneurial journey. I know your business is Doctorbase, but tell me much about yourself. Introduce yourself to my viewers.
Sure.
Your entrepreneurial journey in general.
Yeah, so pretty much the last my entire life it's been about entrepreneurship.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So since I graduated, I've been doing my own thing.
Okay.
Until now, I've started 2 companies before.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, right now I'm running my second company.
In your business, what do you do? Like with Doctorbase, what do you do?
So with Doctorbase, I work mainly in 4 areas. So
Okay.
I work on hiring. So generally, like trying to find the best people that I can find,
Okay.
and try to convince them to join the team and work
Okay.
with me. The second piece of it, so the first piece is building the team. The second one is building the product itself.
Okay.
And so trying to build a great product that people want to buy and that sells. So,
Okay.
so I spend my time on product, and then I spend my time on customers too.
Okay.
So meaning like acquiring new customers, maybe supporting our existing customers. So that's things like sales, marketing, and,
Okay.
and so on and so forth. And lastly, trying to get some resources to run the business, so
Okay.
maybe fundraising and things like that. Just
Oh,
that
great.
stuff. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
So these are the main areas. So team, product, customers, and money.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And you have a particular industry that you are vested in?
So I'm currently I'm very interested in insurance in general.
Okay.
I think this insurance is a very fascinating industry.
Yeah.
It tends to be huge. The opportunity is huge. I don't think insurance have changed much
Okay.
since the inception
Yeah.
of the idea of
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah.
And so I think there is a lot of opportunity that are not yet explored in this industry. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can explore more opportunities around insurance.
Okay. Okay. Great. That's wonderful. And when people talk about entrepreneurship, there should be something that actually inspired you to. What exactly inspired you to go into entrepreneurship, as you mentioned from
Yeah.
graduation?
I think many things.
Okay.
It's not just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've always been inspired by the people who make things
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and sell it.
Okay.
I always thought that was something cool to do, to make something new,
Mm-hmm.
and people would be interested in buying it. So that's one. I also wanted to just have control over my time. I don't want anyone to tell me
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah.
So I wanted some freedom.
Okay.
However, like I realize now there's no freedom whatsoever. So that's one. Also, I wanted to make money. I think entrepreneurship is one of the fastest ways to make a lot of money if you're successful.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very hard to build wealth through working or trading your time
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a good reason to just start a company to just make lots of money, because it's very difficult to do. But I think it's also something very valid to start a business to try to make money.
Okay, great. And let me ask you this question. Usually people have challenge with raising funds for their startups.
Right.
And most of the time when you have program with upcoming entrepreneurs, they ask you
Right.
how did you raise money?
Right.
So in terms of financing a business, what would be your advice? Personally, how did you raise money for your business?
Sure.
And what would be your recommendation to upcoming entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So I think usually, and even that was true for me when I was starting out. The
Okay.
first thing that people start thinking of is how can I get funding for my business?
Okay.
And I learned this is the last thing that you need to think of. As long as you have a really good product that sells and you have people interested buying your product,
Yeah.
then I think raising money would be a lot easier than if you don't have a product or if you
Okay.
don't have people interested in your product. And so one of the ways, like for my first company, the way I raised money is at the time, the Kickstarters, the crowdfunding was very popular
Oh,
at the
good
time,
for you.
right? And Indigo.
Okay.
And so I had this idea of building true wireless headphones.
Okay.
This was before Apple made the AirPods popular.
Yeah.
And so what I did, I just find a designer, like a freelance designer, to design the idea for the headphones. And then I went to a jewelerist
Okay.
to try to like make something that will show the case,
Like a
of what-
prototype.
like a prototype of what we had in mind for
Okay.
the idea. So literally the jewelerist made it in a day. The designer also did the idea in like a few days.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we spent the rest of the time creating the campaign itself.
Oh, okay.
When we released the campaign, in the first 3 days, we raised about $100,000. And we raised, I think, then from Indiegogo we raised a similar amount, about 120, and then we raised money from our own website, was about like I think 75,000 or something like that.
Okay.
And then just start investors and people who are interested starting knocking our door because they did saw the campaign on Kickstarter. So that's how I raised money for Earbit, was my first company.
Wow.
But at the time I didn't have any. Even the designer that I worked with, the jewelerist, I promised that I'm gonna pay them when I raise my money.
But I believe you were honest enough with the promise you made to them.
Yeah, they were fine with it. They're like, okay, cool, yeah, no worries, because it wasn't that much work. For them.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. And
Even the space that I worked out of, I remember worked from a space called Spaces downtown Toronto.
yeah,
I'm like, can I work from here? I'm trying to do this Kickstarter campaign.
yeah.
And when I raise money, I'll pay you guys off. They're like cool with it too.
Wow. So which means I can say you actually got people funding you based on trust. You know, like you leverage on them to get the product out, and indeed you were faithful enough to also compensate them.
But I just wanna say this wasn't true for everyone.
Okay,
So for
yeah,
example, I
yeah.
wanted to make a video
Yeah.
for the Kickstarter campaign,
Okay.
and I was trying to convince the guys to make it for me for free, and then I'll pay them after I get my money from Kickstarter. But they're like, no, you have to pay us 50%
Okay.
off, and we'll wait for the 50% after you raise your money, things like that.
But I think it would be better for people to even go out there and ask than not
And ask,
asking
yeah,
at all.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's wonderful.
Because I remember that was 2014. Yeah, I really didn't have any money to invest in business.
Wow, this is very insightful for our viewers. You know, upcoming entrepreneurs. I think this is a very wonderful suggestion from visitor, Professor Ahmed. So, Prof, let me know this. What would be your advice to young entrepreneurs, people who have ideas and they want to venture into business, and you know it can be scary?
Yes.
But I think we still have to get it done. What would be your advice to them?
I think sometimes people try to complicate the idea of building a business. So a business is just you're building something for someone else,
Yeah.
right? And depending on how good your product is, that determine if people want to buy it or not.
Okay.
And so my advice is always to laser focus on building something that people want to buy, something that sells.
Something that
right?
sells. Okay.
So I generally tend to give the advice of don't worry so much about your ideas. Don't worry how good your ideas are, how smart they sound. Worry too much if people want to buy it or not.
Okay.
Try to test for that all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So if you looked at all the biggest companies in the world, the only common thing between all of these companies is that they have really great product that people want to buy.
Yeah.
Apple is the #1 company in the world
Yeah.
because they make the best computer and the best
Exactly.
iPhones. And that applies for the smallest business and the biggest business too. So just make sure to make something that is great, good. You'll have a great business. Like,
Wow, it's been a wonderful time having you on our show.
no,
Is there anything you'd like to tell our viewers about your business? Any advertisement? It's a free platform for you.
yeah, sure. Like, I think if you want to learn more about my business, it's called Doctorbase. So it's joindoctorbase.com.
Okay, so they can just log onto their
Yeah, and they
the
can
company
learn
website.
the
and
website and learn more
from
about it. However, we do tend to sell to enterprise, which
Okay.
like big companies,
Yeah.
like insurance. But yeah, if you're interested, check the website.
All right, Professor. Thank you very much
All
for
right.
your time.
No
I'm
worries.
grateful.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
guys.